Hello, everybody, and welcome to Amateur Sports for today's Raptors Happy Hour live stream. We are here for the Wednesday Happy Hour today to discuss everything that's going on with the team as of late. We'll talk about the recent run of games. We'll talk about individual performances within the games. We'll talk about the upcoming schedule and a lot of other thoughts in between. Should be a great show today, and it's all driven by you in the chat. Well, a lot of it is driven by you in the chat as well. Make sure get something involved in the chat. I'll be sure to be checking it throughout the show. But for today, a few things I want to cover. We're going to look at yesterday's win against the Brooklyn Nets, where the Raptors were solid. Not super impressive, but got the job done, got the win, 10-point win against the Brooklyn Nets. We'll talk about the recent changes to the All-Star criteria, or at least the players that can make the NBA All-Star team in 2025-2026. And we'll discuss the potential for any Raptors and how many Raptors potentially to end up on an NBA All-Star team this season. What would have to happen for a Raptor to end up on an NBA All-Star team, or multiple Raptors to end up there. We'll talk about Immanuel Quickley because he is starting to turn his season around for the Raptors, and it is really helping them out. We'll talk about all of the City Edition jerseys that have been unveiled. We'll go through all of them, talk about what we think about them, and then at the end of the show, we'll look towards what we have coming up in our next game, which is one against the Cleveland Cavaliers. But how's everyone doing? How is your week going so far? We've hit Wednesday. We're past the halfway point of the week. Like I always say, the Wednesday happy hour, nice little buffer to give you that extra bit of a boost to get you through the rest of the week. I like Wednesdays a lot these days because my Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays at work, I am absolutely positively swamped. So Wednesday is a nice little bit of breathing room and a little bit of reprieve where I can actually chill a little bit on Wednesday compared to the other days. So Wednesdays are nice. I'm not very well rested today because I was up super late last night working after the Raptors game. I was up till 2 a.m. So I'm a little bit tired. I'll find my strength to get to the gym right after this stream is done. But hey, we're still out here and we're still going to have a good time talking about the Raptors. Let's say what's up to the people joining us in the chat so far. Spartan Thorn in Phoenix. Phoenix says IQ finally contributing to my fantasy. Hey, you're brave. I don't know how many people are in your league, but in my league, I guess he didn't get dropped. I didn't see him on waivers, but it would have been a possibility for him to get waived in my league after a really rough start to the season. I'm not sure, but hey, if you've got him in your fantasy team, maybe it was worth the wait at least a little bit. Spartan Thorn said, I've got 2 papers due and I'm behind, but I don't care because the Raptors are winning. God, I'm so happy I don't have to do homework. Oh, man. Awful. Good luck with that. M. Tavares says, with Beal out the rest of the season for the Clippers, any deals or players you think Toronto should go for? Well, I don't think the Clippers, first of all, you could seriously discuss or debate whether the Clippers are going to be better because they are not allowed to let Bradley Beal play basketball anymore. Kind of joking, but also kind of not. The Clippers might be positioned a little bit better because Bradley Beal does not get to play basketball for them anymore. He is truly horrendous at the sport now. Awful player. But no, I don't think I know the Clippers have had a really rough start. What's the record now? They're 3-7. They've looked really bad along the way. I don't think they're ready to sell yet. The West definitely. We went into the season thinking there'd be a lot of really good teams, and we are a few weeks into the season now. Not quite a month into the season. We're a few weeks into the season now, and there aren't that many great teams in the West actually. The Thunder, the Spurs, the Nuggets, the Lakers, the Rockets, the Timberwolves, those are all great teams. Beyond that, I don't know. The Warriors maybe will be, but I'm not sure. The Suns probably won't be. The Trailblazers won't be. The Jazz won't be. Grizzlies won't be. It's very much looking like the Clippers may not be. The Kings won't be. doesn't look like Dallas will be, and the Pelicans definitely won't be. So we went from thinking there was like 11 good teams in the West to there being 6 good teams in the West. And one of those 6 is actually, surprisingly, the San Antonio Spurs. So I don't think the Clippers are going to sell. So I don't think there's anything there for the Raptors to do. And we ain't bailing them out of that financial hell that they are currently in at the moment. 12-player fantasy league. I think in a 12-player league, Phoenix. I'm actually marginally surprised that Quickley didn't end up getting dropped. But you had faith, and maybe you're paying off a little bit as well. Phoenix says Bam and Norm are playing at all-star level, and Spo is prob coach of the year. Miami are doing well. Norm Powell's playing great. I mean, I don't know what the Clippers were thinking when they replaced Norman Powell with Bradley Beal. They obviously downgraded tremendously in that spot. And it's been yeah, I mean, just straight up, it has been a disaster for them this season. Absolutely a disaster for them. I mean, it all started with like off-season turmoil surrounding Steve Ballmer and Kawhi Leonard, absolutely. But I'll tell you, it has not been a disaster for this Raptors team, and it was a really nice win against Brooklyn yesterday. Not really like really nice win to just get the win, get over the line, win by 10 points away from home. The Raptors were not at their best, but sometimes, like, I don't know, you can look at this in multiple ways. You could look at this like the Raptors didn't play very well against the Brooklyn Nets. Like, that's a problem. But you can also look at it like we were able to beat the Brooklyn Nets by 10 while also not playing very well. Sometimes it is a good sign for your team if you're able to not play well and still win games. Brandon Ingram has gone under the radar a lot this season. I'm not going to dedicate a ton of time to him today. I'm probably going to do that on Friday. But Brandon Ingram has been fantastic. He's just quietly been very, very good for the Raptors this season and continuing to just go under the radar around the NBA. Very much playing up to his contract at the moment. RJ Barrett, obviously a rough game here, but kind of the magic of this Raptors team is that there's just so many guys who could have a really good game. So even if RJ goes 6 of 21, you'll have Brandon Ingram play the way he did. Immanuel Quickley putting up 24 points on 59% shooting, 3 of 8 from 3. Barnes chipping in, filling up the stat sheet as usual. And it was a great game from Jakob Poeltl, who got the chain win after the game for the Raptors. It's fantastic what the Raptors have been able to get out of so many of their players this season. The concern continues to be that the Raptors are winning games and all these individuals are playing well, but as a group, they haven't been very good together. It's just when we're diversifying the lineups, we're finding a little bit more success. But, the Raptors have stacked up talent, and in the position that they are in at the moment, it's just they don't need all of them to explode every single night, and you're not going to get a great night out of every player all the time. Also positive is that the bench was chipping in, played some key minutes. Grady Dick continues to kind of be incredible in like net ratings this season. I saw a stat that of the players who played enough minutes to be eligible for this data, Grady Dick has the best defensive rating in the entire National Basketball Association, which does not pass the eye test in any way whatsoever. It's just a funky stat that maybe showcased a bit that defensive rating. First of all, defensive rating is maybe a little bit flawed, but second of all, it's a bit of a showcase that defensive rating is not necessarily an individual stat. Here it is. This was before the Brooklyn game. I actually think Grady Dick was on for some really good minutes against Brooklyn, so I'm not sure if this is going to actually help him. But this is from Samson Folk of Raptors Republic, who said, among qualified players, Grady Dick is the best defensive rating in the NBA. I'm not supposed to suggest defensive rating isn't a team-wide stat, simply to acknowledge the comedy of it. He's also 7th in net rating. Raptors have won his minutes like crazy. And it showcases here his defensive rating, 98.3. I'm actually going to pull up his net rating this season in total. Let me just sort this out. One sec. Just pulling up the numbers here. Here we go. All right, so it's it's pretty crazy. Grady Dick has played 175 minutes. His net rating is 17, just under 17 in those 175 minutes. His defensive rating has actually ballooned up to 104.29, which is still very good. His net rate, the net rating when he's off the floor, is minus 4.8, and it's a small sample. I understand that, but the Raptors have been absolutely dominating in Grady Dick's minutes, despite the fact that Grady Dick really hasn't played all that well for the Raptors this season. If we're being perfectly honest, like I'll pull up his basketball reference page to kind of get a better idea of where his season's been at. But it hasn't felt like it's been that great from Grady Dick this season. But the Raptors are just completely dominating in his minutes. Yeah, he's averaging 7.6 points per game, which is half of what he was averaging last season. He's averaging less than 40% from the field, still 35% from three, but his numbers are down. Like, it's pretty remarkable where it's at. So trying to kind of decipher and figure out what this means. Like, what does this actually show to us when you see these just ridiculous statistics like this? First of all, it's a small sample size, so you have to kind of take that into consideration. Second of all, I think there's certain matchups where Grady Dick just won't see the floor in certain areas. Somebody replied to the original tweet with some luck-adjusted net ratings, and it's not as favorable towards Grady Dick. But I think it's also a showcase that when he's on the floor, his spacing is still quite valuable. It does like, obviously a small sample. We're going to learn more, and part of it is the small sample and maybe a bit of luck, but also part of it is his spacing is a big deal for the team. And it really helps a lot of the players like Scottie Barnes. I really liked in the last game against the Brooklyn Nets when we were able to get Jamison Battle and Grady Dick on the floor together, because you just kind of sit those guys in the corner and then you let Scottie Barnes kind of handle the ball and cook, and he's got like so much real estate to eat up in the paint, and he's very difficult to stop when he is afforded those opportunities. So I think there's a little bit more something to this. Grady Dick has been a little bit disappointing, and maybe it's a further highlight of what this team could be if they were actually getting like real consistent 3-point threats on their team. And it's just something they haven't acquired or been able to get over the last long while. It feels like a long time since we've had a player like that. So anyways, just interesting there on Grady Dick when it comes to this game in particular. Going further down with the bench players, Jamison Battle was fine in his minutes. I kind of hope he gets more minutes as we continue through the season. He feels a little bit underutilized for me. Jacoby Walter was 2 of 5, hit a couple threes when the Raptors kind of really needed it. Still leaves a bit to be desired with his play. Jamal Shed was great again. Colin Murray-Boyles was great again. There's a lot of reliable pieces coming off of the bench for the Raptors, which unfortunately has not been the case the last few years. So just really nice to have players who can come off the bench and contribute to winning. Like, the Raptors started really poorly in that game against the Brooklyn Nets and kind of needed some bench minutes to bail them out. In years past, it was the Raptors starters having to, getting in the lead, and the bench puts them in a big hole. So the starters come back out and give the Raptors a big lead. And maybe part of this is the fact that the Raptors are staggering minutes a lot more this season. We're seeing less and less 4+1 lineups. They kind of sprinkle in here and there from Darko, but we're seeing a lot less egregious lineups that contain 4 bench players. So these bench guys are getting mixed in with more talent. Maybe some of that is playing into this. What's also playing into this is just that Jamal Shed has improved, and Colin Murray-Boyles is a really good rookie. And Mama Kelshi is a great pickup. But I do think there is a blend with the way the minutes are being distributed this season, and the minute distribution has been a lot smarter from Darko Rajakovic compared to other seasons, because how much I've despised some of the lineups that contain 4 bench players. Overall, Raptors shot 50% from the field. they won the possession battle. And as much as the threes weren't falling as normal, some of that is the fact that just RJ went 0 of 7. As much as the threes weren't falling as normal, again, great that they were able to get this win here. And even if they didn't have to play well in order to get it. You think we'll target either AD or Ja? I don't think we'll make any significant push for either of them. I'd be interested in Ja because of I think the trade structure makes sense. I'm not really sure what the trade would have to look like to get Anthony Davis. I guess Jakob Poeltl may have to be involved, but I don't know if they'd really be super open to taking Jakob Poeltl in a trade. I don't know. I don't really see a clear pathway for acquiring Anthony Davis. If you guys have a trade in mind, give me your thoughts and we can maybe kind of work through it in that way. Maybe it'd be Quickley and Poeltl, but then you lose your point guard, and I don't think we can really afford to lose a point guard. We barely have any to begin with. Not sure if Jamal Shedd's ready to start, and there's no backup there in that spot. For Spartan Thorns, it feels like at times they don't evolve beyond the offense as much as they should. Maybe sometimes. Especially in that Brooklyn game, maybe it kind of felt like he could have gotten even more shots up because he was one of the only guys playing playing well at certain points in the game. But there's a lot of mouths to feed, remember, which kind of makes it difficult. It feels like they're sharing the ball pretty well as of right now, I'd say. Travis Smith says he used to start, but we have so much wings now, it's hard for him to get minutes. He's way too inconsistent. Well, if Grady Dick had really seized that starting role, the Raptors may have been a lot more keen to trade RJ Barrett in the offseason. It's not like Grady Dick has earned himself that starting spot for this year. There's no way, there's no way he earned that. He's gotta be better and more consistent. But it's pretty strange how heavily they are winning his minutes. By the way, as I go through a few more comments, we're going to get into kind of some All-Star game talk in just a second here. Make sure you guys have hit that like button. Support the channel, support the stream. Help drive streams like this up in the YouTube algorithm to help reach more Raptors fans. Would mean a lot if you'd be able to do that. We got 27 people watching, 4 likes. Let's get those like numbers up. If you're new to the channel, just remember I'm live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for streams like this at 5 p.m. Eastern. And I'm live for Raptors games 15 minutes ahead of the scheduled start time. Let's now dig into the All-Star game this season because the All-Star game format has changed for 2026. And there's a possibility it could actually play into the favor of a certain Raptors player. So let's look at the new format, give our thoughts on it, and then assess which Raptors players have the best chance of getting there and if there's a possibility of any of them getting there or maybe even more than one player getting to that Los Angeles All-Star game. So, I mean, we know this. It's been a little dead in previous years. They're kind of struggling with the All-Star game, but they're looking to shake things up this season. They are looking to find something that is a little bit more entertaining. And what a lot of people have pitched is a Team USA versus World All-Star game format. And I feel like the NHL has inspired a lot with All-Star game formats for this season because the NHL ditched their typical All-Star game format last season, and a lot of leagues have started to move away from the East versus West format. The NHL went to 4 different teams playing scrimmages, and then last year they went to a different thing, which was the 4 Nations face-off. They had Team Canada, Team USA, Team Sweden, and Team Finland, and that was an absolutely electric tournament. Absolutely electric. You saw best-on-best hockey for these countries, which you hadn't seen in a long time because of the changes that were made to the Olympic structure, and players were up and excited for it. So I think the NBA has taken a little bit of inspiration from that. We wanted Team USA versus Team World. We're not getting that, and perhaps it's just because we don't have enough players that would actually make it from Team World. So what the NBA has done here, the All-Star game format is going to be a 3-team format, round-robin tournament, 4 12-minute games. We have 2 Team USA teams and 1 World team. So 24 total players, 8 players for each team, 12 from each conference selected without regard for position. So my favorite thing about this is that there is no regard for position. If you are a top 12 player in your conference, you are an all-star. You're not going to be taken out of consideration because you're a forward and there's already too many forwards in the team. I think that's great. And basketball has become more and more positionless over time. That's a really great adjustment. As for the format itself, I mean, you guys give me your thoughts. Put it in the comments. Put it in the chat. I don't think this is going to save the All-Star game. I don't think this is going to make the All-Star game any more entertaining. Like, the magic of the Four Nations face-off was how bad each team wanted to win it. Like, I was so hyped watching Canada win that in the NHL last year. That was awesome. I had some great times watching the tournament. I don't imagine I'm going to have those same great times here. Like, when you think of the team world that's going to be present, like, Jokic and Doncic are going to be on it, and they will not give a shit about this game. I don't think that this is going to provide a ton of excitement, nor do I think it's going to make the players excited about playing in it. But beyond that, what is interesting is the possibility of players who are not from the United States of America maybe having a better shot than normal of making it into an all-star team. Last season, if I'm not mistaken, there were 5 international players in the NBA All-Star game, and we need 8 this season. So I think that first and foremost, this makes a pretty interesting case for RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett has played really well this season. His most recent game against Brooklyn wasn't that great, but he's played really well this season. And if he can tick these numbers up maybe even a little bit more, it really kind of thrusts him into this conversation, especially as a Canadian player who could represent the world team at that All-Star game. RJ Barrett, 20 points per game this season, 51% from the field, which is fantastic, 35% from 3, which is fine. He's averaging 61% on twos, which is way up compared to last season, and his true shooting percentage is still above 60. It is. True shooting percentage is 61%, which is absolutely fantastic for him and for us, for the Raptors. It's been great. RJ Barrett has played extremely well this season. Is this enough to get into an all-star team? Well, I think no, typically, but let's try and decipher like which players would be able to get in ahead of him for this team world. The obvious 5, maybe the 5 best players in the league: Victor Wembanyama, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Immediately, 5 players take up spots on the world team. There could be injuries that could give him a little bit more space to make it, but those 5 immediately. The next 3, now some conversations can kind of take place. Let me know who you guys think would fill out the next 3 based on what we've seen so far this season. But in my mind, if you're picking right now, you probably have to go with Josh Giddey because he has been great this season. If he can continue that, I don't know, but if he does, he might make an all-star team here. Other players to kind of factor into this conversation: Alperen Sengun, I think, of course. He's got a really good shot of making it, and I think this change to the world format will actually give him a boost, and I think he'll make it. Then you go to maybe a Franz Wagner, but Orlando haven't been fantastic this season. Still a lot of time before this comes into play. Maybe Karl-Anthony Towns, depending on his eligibility towards this, because he did represent the Dominican Republic at FIBA level, so I don't know if they will consider him for that, or like Joel Embiid if he's playing well. I don't even know what they would consider him as, because he's like Cameroonian, but he's French, but he played for Team USA at the Olympics. I don't know. And then there's RJ Barrett, who I think might have a chance to sneak in if he's playing really well. There's some tough names there. In the end, I don't think RJ will make it, but I think this format plays into his hands a little bit more. Now, other players who could factor in: the Raptors have 2 one-time All-Stars in their ranks who could command some consideration here. And first and foremost, you've got Brandon Ingram, who has flown pretty extremely under the radar this season. He's putting up some terrific numbers: 21.4 points per game, taking less shots than last season, but been more efficient with those shooting opportunities, shooting above 50% from the field. That would be the first time he's done that in his career, but he's been close a few times. 3-pointers have come down to the start of the season. He's down to under 30% from 3. But Rebounds a little bit up compared to normal. Assists, I would like to see those climb up a little bit, but maybe the ball in his hands a little bit less. Gives him a true shooting percentage of 59.9, which is terrific. He's been a mid-range assassin this season, as you would expect. I think Ingram's got some potential to get in. But where the Raptors will likely be in the standings, it'll be difficult for them to get multiple All-Stars. It's going to be difficult for them to get one All-Star in particular. Like, you'd really have to be higher up in the Eastern Conference, I think, to get that consideration. Especially for, like, if the Raptors, like, they're sharing the ball a lot, the usage is being dispersed, so nobody's really, getting into the mid-20s for points per game. But I think if the Raptors were to get one All-Star, that would have to go to Scottie Barnes for a second time. 19.5 points per game this season, 50% shooting from the field, ridiculously shooting 44.4% from three. I don't expect that to continue, but he's shooting the ball much better this season. And his shot selection has improved dramatically compared to last season, which I think is aiding his field goal percentage very, very much this season. We're finding better ways to utilize his minutes. We're finding better lineups to give him some more spacing, and he is absolutely taking advantage of it. He's also averaging 7.4 rebounds and 4.9 assists. His true shooting percentage, I think, is a little bit lower than the other players, but I mean, it's still 59% after 11 games in the season. So obviously a lot of time to go here. But I think that the way the Raptors have looked right now, the way their schedule looks upcoming, I think that they're very much setting themselves up to get an All-Star. I think the most likely player to get that is Scottie Barnes. As for the second most likely player, I think because of the new criteria that we're seeing here, it might actually be RJ Barrett. If we're playing like normal criteria, then I think it's beneficial for... I think it's more likely Brandon Ingram, but for this criteria here, where you need to fill in those team world players, and there could be injuries to Doncic, to Wemby, whoever else. RJ has got a shot of maybe getting into this position here and sneaking into an all-star team. We'll just kind of have to wait and see how much of this is sustainable for these players, but Barnes looks really good this season, and it's a really good sign when Barnes, he's been scoring really well, of course, but even when he's not, he's still impacting the game a ton and is still impacting winning a ton. For the Raptors to get two All-Stars, I think they'd really have to be like a top 4 team in the East. I don't really see them getting that high. For them to get 3 All-Stars, they'd have to be like a 1 seed, and that's just not going to happen. So maybe 1. I think there's a chance at 2. I really don't see 3 happening, but I really hope we get 1, get some representation back in the All-Star game, and keep the vibes up in the city of Toronto and with the Raptors organization. What do you guys think, though? Or were we thinking, what are you thinking? 1, 2, 3, none? How many All-Star appearances are we getting here? Travis Smith, it should be Team Europe versus Team North America, South America. Well, what about Australia? Because you've got Josh Giddey playing really well, and he might get in. Maybe you could do North America versus World. But, I mean, I guess the NBA is trying something here. It does kind of take away from the prestige of the All-Star appearance, where now there's chances you're getting selected because of the country you represent. Takes a little bit away from the prestige of it. I don't like how the NHL has kind of done that. Like, the NHL has kind of turned it into every team has to have 1 All-Star. So there were guys who had no business being All-Stars in the All-Star team. They had fan votes some seasons, which got some ridiculous players like Zemgus Jurgensen. Did Zemgus Jurgensen actually play in the All-Star game? Maybe. And you had, what's his name, John Scott or something, like an enforcer. Although I guess the NBA let it happen with Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins started an All-Star game he had no business being in because a K-pop star used the hashtag for the NBA All-Star game and voted for Andrew Wiggins. That was literally the reason he got in. I don't know. It takes away a little bit of the prestige. How much of a... I'm just kind of... I do wonder, how much of a moneymaker is this for the NBA? to do an All-Star game? Like, what is the motivation to continue to do this? Because nobody cares about it. The All-Star skills competitions have been slowly dying. Like, the three-point contest is kind of cool, but it's losing its prestige. The dunk contest is in a rough spot right now, for sure. Like, the skills challenge, whatever it is, who fucking cares? And the game itself, like they caught lightning in a bottle that one year where they had like a first of 24 points in the fourth quarter, and like the players were really up for that. Kyle Lowry's like taking charges in the clutch. But I don't know. Can't you just name like the All-Stars the midway point of the season, and then that's like, goes on their resume figuratively? I don't know if this will say it. We'll see. I mean, I guess we'll give it a shot. At least they're trying something, but I don't think this is going to save it. I think, like, is this going to get more viewership than just doing an East versus West All-Star game? I don't think so. So we'll see. It's gone through a lot of people, so we'll see. I do really like the fact that it's positionless now, though. That was the right call, and maybe a few years overdue, but at least they're doing it now. And Travis Smith in the chat agrees. So I like the idea of having no positions in the All-Star, just straight up having the best players in the league. Yep, that's how it should be. So many players can play multiple positions now. That was the right call. Absolutely. All right. Didn't mention this guy for All-Star considerations. I don't think he will have any All-Star considerations, but we're not going to let this go under the radar, because after a really difficult season, at least after a really difficult start to the season, at least, Immanuel Quickley is really starting to turn things around, and it's making a big difference for this Raptors team. So let's look at his stats in the season. Let's look at what he's done in previous seasons and go through what we should expect out of him for the rest of the season and talk about the impact that could have on everything, especially for a team that is already lacking in floor spacing. And that's just the key. The Raptors are lacking a lot of floor spacing. They are devoid of a lot of shooting talent on this team, and a lot of the shooting talent they're supposed to have not really been shooting like that a lot this season. Like, Grady Dick's been a bit inconsistent. Jacoby Walter's been very inconsistent. Abaji has really not shown up at all to start the season for the Raptors, and Immanuel Quickley had a rough start to the season. Initially, it was like RJ Barrett and Scottie Barnes pulling the weight from three, which likely is not sustainable. But there is a huge onus on Immanuel Quickley to provide the spacing for this team from that point guard position. And even at the start of the season, Immanuel Quickley, at media day before the season started, was looking at his three-point attempt volume from last season. He saw that he took less than 7 attempts per game for the Raptors last season. He acknowledged himself, like, he wants to get those numbers up to 8, 9, 10 three-point attempts per game, which I think is the right course of action for the team. But with the way he started the season, he's had to scale down maybe his touches a little bit. But I think putting Immanuel Quickley off ball a little bit more in the last stretch of games has actually helped him a lot. Like, it was a really good performance in the most recent game that we've seen at the time that we're doing this live stream here against the Brooklyn Nets, where he was hitting big shots in big moments. We saw that he was able to put up 24 points in this game, 10 of 17 from the field, 3 of 8 from 3, 8 rebounds to go with it. It was likely his most impressive performance of the season to date. And on the season as a whole so far, I mean, he's still catching up statistically, but starting to see improvements there. He's averaging 50.3 points per game, 43% shooting from the field, 34.3% shooting from three. Obviously, need to see that continue to improve. We want to see him near 40% from three, absolutely. But hopefully, like, on the right track now. There's a lot of gains for those numbers to continue to climb as we go throughout the season. But it's not just that one game that was impressive for Quickley. Like, it's been the last few games where things have started to turn around. Like, it was a really, really down performance from him when he was 2 of 9 against the Cavs, only put up 4 points, and then he followed it up with only taking 5 shots against Memphis and putting up 9 points. 2 games the Raptors won, but it was just like, man, like, we're able to do this and Quickley's not doing anything. not a great look, but we've kind of needed him to step up in the last few games, and he just seemingly is getting better and better and better. 15 points against the Bucks in this game here. He was 5 of 15. Not great shooting-wise, but it was his best night of the season. 6 rebounds, 7 assists to go with it. Then followed that up with an 18-point performance against the Hawks. 5 of 11, 3 of 7 from 3. Then the usage started to climb back up. 8 of 16 with 22 points. 6 rebounds, 6 assists against Philly, albeit in a loss. And then best of the season so far in that game against Brooklyn, which granted, it's Brooklyn, but 24 points, 10 of 17, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 of 8 from 3. So Quickley is definitely starting to turn things around, and we know why this can be significant for the Raptors. It's just providing extra spacing for the players in the starting 5. The players with like the main 3 players for the Raptors, Barnes, Barrett, and Ingram, have all been individually very good this season, very efficient this season. But when those 3 players are on the floor together, the Raptors have been not very good, and they've struggled a lot in those minutes. And spacing and fit is obviously a concern with that. But Immanuel Quickley has got to be like that unlocking piece that provides enough floor spacing for those guys to be able to flourish that little bit more within the starting 5 and within those key minutes where they want to get off to a good start or when they are closing the game together. They've gone to maybe a different center at times to close those lineups, but Immanuel Quickley has got to be a big factor within those groups as well. Overall, coming to the season, there wasn't the biggest amount of confidence in Quickley. Like in 23-24, he played 38 games, dealt with injuries. The Raptors dealt with the tank. 18.6 points, 45% from the field, almost 40% from 3. It was still enough for the Raptors to be confident enough to give him a very large contract extension, $175 million over 5 years. And in the first year of that contract, numbers were maybe down a little bit. 17.1 points per game, down to 42% shooting from the field, down to 38% shooting from 3. At least 57% true shooting is decent. But it was a bit of a down year and was a little bit of a concern. I kind of questioned because, from watching Quickley, it didn't feel like it was that bad. But Raptors fans were growing a little bit tiresome of his play. I think it's a little bit more fair to reflect on those 2 seasons with per 36, just because last season there were a lot of injuries and there was a lot more tanking and a lot more rested games and, games where he's not playing full minutes. So the per 36 kind of enlightened us a little bit further as to the past 2 seasons. They're actually a lot more similar when you look at it from this angle, but it's still a $32.5 million point guard. And we do want to see a little bit more out of this player than that. Now, like I said earlier, it kind of feels like his role has scaled back a little bit more in the last few games. That's maybe a bit of a reason why he was able to play better. So Immanuel Quickley, certainly has the talent. And the question has started to just kind of become, is he a good enough talent as a point guard for this team that has a lot of talented forwards who need a good playmaker? I don't think he's the perfect fit as a point guard, but he's a player who's certainly capable of shooting the basketball and a player certainly capable of playmaking. Not at an elite level, but he has ability there. And as a three-point ball is starting to come to him, he's turning into a much more important piece for the team. I still feel like he'd be a decent trade chip to upgrade in that point guard position, but he is a talented player. He needs to do more to play up to the contract that he is currently on. He needs to be better. He needs to give us a little bit more of a reason to be content with his contract and where it's at right now. But we're currently definitely making steps in the right direction, and it's only fair for fans who have really been on his case in the last couple seasons. And me, I was definitely starting to get on his case at the start of the season. It's only fair to acknowledge that things are starting to take really good steps in the right direction. He's healthy right now. He's getting his confidence back. We haven't really had a season with Immanuel Quickley healthy for an extended period of time. So what could it possibly look like with him playing a healthier amount of games? Because 38 2 seasons ago, 33 last season, hopefully we very much are on the right track to get a lot better out of Immanuel Quickley, because it is an expensive contract. That makes it a pretty difficult contract to trade as well. So it feels like this is our point guard. Let's try to maximize what he can do for the team, and let's hope he can continue to improve, or at least start to show signs that he's going to be able to improve with the Raptors and make that contract a whole lot worthwhile. Because as of now, there's still doubts over it. And I think that's more than fair to say. I think, like, if he wouldn't say it publicly, I think he would have to say it internally, that he hasn't quite played up to the standards that he would have wanted for the Raptors after signing that contract. There's 4 years left on it. That's our guy. So hopefully we can see improvement. And we're going in the right direction. So it's important to acknowledge that. All right. I think the All-Stars is antiquated. It should be about highlighting the top performers. This means expanding the players on the All-Star teams to give more exposure across the league. No, I don't like that. I haven't liked going to more players. Like, being selected as an NBA All-Star is a prestigious achievement, and it should be held to the best of the best and the top 12 players in each conference. That's what it should be held to. I don't like it being expanded. Dilute is a good word that Phoenix used in the chat. Save it. It's the best of the best. And the best of the best get in. And if you play well enough, obviously there's going to be players who miss out, players who sneak in. But there are players as well who play so well that it's a no-brainer that guy is going to be an all-star. So that's what players should be looking to achieve. Haven't mocked the AD trade. We can do that if I have a bit more time at the end. If not, we can maybe do it for Friday. I'll put it in my notes to see like what it could look like for the Raptors. We have Sumaya Ahmed joining us in the chat, I believe from a different account, or is that somebody with a similar name? Somebody else to know. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully you're enjoying the stream so far. If you guys haven't, please make sure you smash that like button. We have 13 likes so far. Let's get the likes up here. 38 people watching live. Let's get those numbers up. We're going to go into the NBA City Edition jerseys now. And we'll go through every NBA City Edition jersey around the league. And quickly give our thoughts on all of them here. Because I actually think this is one of the better batches that we have seen. I actually think it's a better batch than we have seen in recent history. I think it was either last year or 2 years ago. It was like almost every jersey was bad. I think it was like last year. Like every jersey was not the Raptors one, but there's so many bad jerseys. Phoenix says, are you going to drop the AHS at the end of the channel, eventually complete the name rebrand? Yes. Right now, Phoenix, we don't have 3 likes. We have 13. We have 16 now, actually. If it doesn't update once you start watching, it doesn't usually update. So, like, I'm looking at it and there's 0. There's not 0. There's 16. I'm looking at from the YouTube studio page. But yeah, the goal is to eventually drop the Amateur Sports from the name. I'll keep it like in the branding of the shows, the branding of the content, but the outward look of the channel definitely we're gonna end up completing that rebrand. But let's jump into the jerseys here. I like the Atlanta jersey. I really like the orange they use. I like the peach tree sort of font. I like the black and orange. I think that's a sweet jersey. Boston, they've had worse. Fuck Boston. It's probably pretty nice, though. I really like the Brooklyn. I know they've used it before, but it's a really nice jersey. It's a fan favorite for a reason. You bring back the Coogee sweater design that the notorious B.I.G. really popularized. Shout out Biggie. And shout out these jerseys. These are great. These are excellent jerseys for a really bad team. I actually like orange, so I kind of like this Charlotte jersey. I think a lot of people might look at this jersey and not like it. I like orange and yellow. I like the combination. I don't really see the ties to Charlotte specifically with it, but I'm a fan of this jersey a lot. Let me see. City Edition Remix uniform celebrates the generational basketball passion of the Carolinas. Colors inspired by the bird of paradise. I don't really get that too much. The fly that once captivated Queen Charlotte. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I like the color. If there's no story. Chicago, I think I've used this before or a similar design. I like this one. It's cool. It's simple, but the colors are nice. Good combinations. This is a good logo. This is a good one. Like I told you guys, big fan of orange. I really like this Cleveland jersey. I think that people could not like it, but I really like this jersey. I really like the colors. Sweet jersey for me. Dallas, kind of boring. Not a fan. Not for me. Denver, this is a great jersey. Love this one. Inspired by like previous uniforms of the late 80s, early 90s. They've worn this before. It's a great one. I love this one. Love this one. Solid one from Detroit. You know, paying homage to like the turquoise colors they've used previously. Good jersey. Like that one. This one's all right. Feel like a different maybe color palette could have made it better, but this one's all right from the Golden State Warriors. Really like this Houston one. Sweet kind of font. I love the red and blue combination. That's a good one. Not a big fan of this Pacers one, to be honest. I think they're combining like a few different eras of Pacers jerseys. I think for a fan, this could be good, but as a neutral, not really as much for me. Wow. I hate these Clippers ones. I hate it. I know that they're, it's paying homage to the Buffalo Braves with the orange, but I think this is awful. I hate the font. I hate the blocking of the colors. And I like orange, but this one's not for me. Lakers have used it before. It's fine. It's black. It's gold and purple. Like, what could really go wrong here? Memphis, I like this one. I like this one quite a lot. Cool stripes, cool pinstripes. I like I do like kind of the one side having the color and not the other. I kind of like the asymmetrical look there. I'm a big fan of this one. I like this one. Miami Vice is just elite. This is absolutely elite. I own a fake version of this jersey. I'm a huge fan of this one. I have this exact one, a Tyler Hero one. This is a really good jersey, and it's worth bringing back and using once again. Milwaukee going back to the Cream City jerseys. Not terribly fond of the Cream City jerseys at all. They're all right. I think it's just funny that it says Cream City on it. Wolves, definitely one of the worst. It's not loading, but, I mean, you get the gist. The Wolves definitely have one of the worst. So basic. Didn't try anything and just do not understand what the choice of colors here. Terrible. Not as terrible as this one. For the same reasons, it's just uglier, and the color combination is even worse with the green. Terrible from the Pelicans. Knicks, hard to kind of go wrong with their color combo, but it just feels like they didn't really do much with this one, so not a big fan. OKC, dark blue, not a big fan. I like the Magic ones a lot. I like the kind of the sides having the stars going through it. I like the color combos here, the way it's framed. Quality one from the Magic. Philly, pretty simple, not super inspiring. It's fine. Suns, this is a great one. Bringing back the Valley jerseys. These are awesome and worthy of bringing back, absolutely. Portland with the PDX. The sash, the turquoise sash with the marks on it is the same style that the carpet has at the PDX airport, Portland's airport. So I kind of like the inspiration there. I do actually like the color combination here being used. Sacramento's okay. Don't mind that. Decent, like 6 out of 10. I really like these San Antonio Spurs ones with the Fiesta colorway. This is a great one. And I'm happy they brought this one back. Good to see on the floor. I've talked a lot about the Raptors one already. Don't need to rehash it. I just feel like it's pretty uninspiring and inoffensive. It's just, yeah, black, red, the Raptor logo that we've seen a ton of times already. I think it would have looked better if it was red instead of black. Like red Raptor on a red jersey. We haven't had a red Dino yet, but we've had 4. This is our third black dino jersey. We had the black with the gold dino. We had the black with the Vince Carter purple one from last year, which were awesome. But like now we're doing it again. I think a red Raptor would have been kind of cool. The Jazz, not a huge fan of. I don't really get it. I don't really get why they did this. Like, you've got such like elite combinations with like the purple and the mountains they've done, but this is not really it for me. Washington, I think to end us off, yeah, the gold. I am certainly an enjoyer of the gold ones. I like the throwback of it, and the era it represents is interesting. I like it. I think some people don't, but I do kind of like the gold ones. So those are all of the City Edition jerseys. All right, I'm watching some darts here. I watch darts frequently. I'm a big darts fan, and there's a match on right now, and it is a sudden death last leg, and there's a player I really like who is playing in it, who is probably about to lose after missing a couple match-winning opportunities. So I do kind of want to see this conclusion before I talk about the upcoming game against the Cleveland Cavaliers, because the last time the Raptors played against the Cavs, they were able to win, but the Cavs were missing players. It's possible they're missing more players for this one as well, because Donovan Mitchell's out tonight, Darius Garland is out tonight, and Evan Mobley once again is out tonight as well. So we'll go into it here. Cavs will be on the second night of a back-to-back, yes. But also the Cavs are not playing Donovan Mitchell tonight or Evan Mobley tonight. So they might be a bit more rested for the game against the Raptors. So we'll just have to kind of wait and see. Sorry, this is going down to the wire. Give me a sec before I dig in on this game. Sorry to keep you guys waiting here. But yes, Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley are out tonight, mostly for resting purposes. So it will be second night of a back-to-back, but it will not be the second night of a back-to-back for them. All right. So this is what ESPN is showing us. Evan Mobley out, Donovan Mitchell out, Darius Garland out. So Darius Garland, I actually don't know for sure if Darius Garland is out for rest or if he's just straight up missing this game for injury. Darius Garland, let me see the news on him. He's out with a toe injury, had turf toe at the end of the playoffs last season. So I'm not sure if he'll be able to come back for this one, actually. I'm sorry, this game's crazy. They keep missing. It's not ending. Turf toes March. Missing the first 7 game season. I'm not sure if he's... I'm not sure, actually, if he's going to be available for this one. Okay, you guys got to help me out here. I know Mobley and Mitchell are out for rest. They're out because they are resting. Okay? So, like, they should be back for the game against the Raptors, which will make it a very tough game. Darius Garland, I'm pretty sure, is out. I was trying to get confirmation, but I'm pretty sure he's out. So it'll be a tough game, essentially what I'm trying to say. We didn't get the Cavs at full strength the last time we played them, so the game will obviously be a little bit different today, and we will just have to wait and see. But we've been playing well. Absolutely, we've been playing well. The Raptors have looked good. Wasn't great against Brooklyn. Maybe kind of took the foot off the gas a little bit, even though it was coming off a loss against the Philadelphia 76ers. I think the Raptors are in a really good position. The Raptors are building up momentum. I think optimism should be building for the team. So we're in a great spot. And I'm excited for a bit of a challenge in a measuring stick game against the Cavaliers. All right. That is going to do it for me. Phoenix says the Mavs are expected to work with Anthony Davis camp of the next 2 months to decide whether to pursue an in-season trade, according to Mark Stein. Wow. That was the guy they traded Luka Doncic for. Oh, we got a visitor. Hey, bud. Good time to end stream. Wow. So Friday, we'll save it for Friday. I'll talk about Anthony Davis mock trades. I really don't expect him to go to the Raptors at all in any way, but we'll see like if it's possible just for fun and kind of to speculate on it. But my dog's being annoying, so we'll end off the stream here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight to the Raptors Happy Hour. If you guys did enjoy, please make sure you smash that like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel because I'm live for these Happy Hour streams every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm live for Raptors games as well. 15 minutes before the scheduled start time, and I post clips and videos throughout the week. Lots of great content here. Have a great rest of your week, guys. Actually, no, I'll see you tomorrow. Raptors play the Cavs tomorrow. Happy Hour stream Friday. I'm off on Saturday at a banquet, so no watch along there, but plenty of content. Hope to see you at the next.